Okay, look, I know it's been a while. I don't want to hear it. Last fall in October, I welcomed my second baby, so I have been a little busy with a toddler and an infant. But somehow in that time period, or right before I welcomed my second baby, I wrapped up the Ecommerce Foundation's Yellowbrick course. So I wanted to kind of step back into YouTube and make a video about that course. It's been a while since I've made a video, done any Yellowbrick content, so that is what I am doing for today. If you're new here, my name is Chloe. I am a self-published author, stay-at-home mom, and I am also a panelist for the Yellowbrick courses. I've done tons of videos and taken the courses for the fashion industry essentials, fashion business essentials, the fashion styling, and most recently, the e-commerce. So I wanted to talk about the e-commerce course a little bit. I finished it up. Basically, the e-commerce course is for entrepreneurs that are looking to start their own online business or their own omnichannel e-commerce enterprise, as it were. So this course was really great. It talked about drop shipping, Shopify, how to meet the demands for consumers when they are buying things from you, how to ship. One thing I think would be really interesting for this course, I don't know if they will update it or do just like a separate course, but it would be really interesting for them to cover like TikTok shop. I feel like it's so huge now. We see it pushed, and I feel like TikTok is such a new way to shop. It's a new platform, it's a new thing. And then I don't really see that pushed as much as like on Instagram, supposedly there's like the Instagram shopping, but I don't see it pushed nearly as much as I do with TikTok. And they did kind of cover it in a sense, not TikTok directly, but like drop shipping, which a lot of people swear by, because there's a bunch of people who are like stay-at-home moms or like trying to do side hustles here and there, and they all want to do drop shipping. So I think that would be really interesting if they did like that side of it, which is kind of out of your control unless you're like the person who's putting the product on TikTok, obviously, and it's not just like you know what I mean. It's been a while. I'm a little rusty, okay? I'm trying to get back into this. There are 5 courses within this, what do I want to say? There are 5, is it courses? In the e-commerce foundations, there are 5 courses, and each course has a separate lesson, quizzes, projects, all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to do this as fast as I can because both kids are napping, and that never happens anymore, so stay with me. For the e-commerce course, there are 5 modules, and each module has different sections, quizzes, topics, whatever. The first module of the e-commerce course is starting up in strategy. And so this is just like, hey, I want to obviously start up, like, hey, I want to start this business. This is what I have in mind. So if we're looking at it, I'm going through it one by one on my laptop, just so that way I don't miss a single thing. So there's like the course introduction, getting the business started, how e-commerce gets started, and how to meet the commercial needs. Then it goes over the product, like what is your product? You need to have a unique selling proposition. Does your product solve a problem? That's always like the biggest thing, is if your product needs to solve a problem so people will actually buy it. Go over the brand, like the brand mission, the brand vision, finding a brand. There's also a bunch of like articles as well as videos. If you haven't taken a Yellowbrick course before, those are all similar. Like there's always quizzes, articles to read, videos to watch. That was the brand. And then the next one is the strategy, step towards a business model, strategy and implementation, ROI, revenue model, business model. Then there's technology, which is just talking about all the different kinds of platforms. And if you wanted to do like a web-based e-commerce thing or an app-based, which those were really interesting to read and like watch videos about, like the differences, because I feel like it's so easy nowadays. You can get anything shipped to you, especially if you have your phone and an app. Sometimes it depends on who your niche is, who your customer, your market is, right? So it's like, would your customer or demographic, would they be more likely to use an app? Would an app be a better investment, or would just the web? So that was interesting. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, that was actually really cool. Then it talks about the merchandise, like the buying plan, the sell-through. The second module is all about e-tail design. What makes a successful site? Goals for your site, the design, the metrics, things like that. Whether or not you could do it yourself or if you should hire one, because you really are weighing expenses here, because things need to be worth your time and investment. A lot of things are an investment, obviously, but what things are worth like your time and money. Obviously, you want things to be legitimate so that way people will shop and feel comfortable surfing your site and not feel like it's like a cheap one with a bunch of ads or whatever. But at the same time, these things can get expensive, so you have to weigh the pros and cons of each. each possibility. The next topic section is the journey to conversion. So sales conversions, connecting to the audience, landing pages, site pages, how your website is laid out, what the audience sees. Next section is SEO foundations. What is SEO? And then they really utilize Google in this area, like Google keywords, SEO basics. It's very, very interesting. I have a little bit more familiarity with this personally, just because since I'm an author, I was really looking into this for like how people could find my books, like what are keywords that would make my book come up in SEOs, right? So, you know, like cozy rom-coms or clean romances, things like that. More familiarity with that, but it was really cool to see the metrics and being able to look at the competition and how things rank. Then we have designing the site, like layout and navigation. Again, I have a little bit of familiarity with that because when I had my blog and my website, I was doing that a little bit too. You want to have things like a really clean layout, not cluttered or busy, a really clear contact page. And then I don't think it's right here, but I think it's later on with like the checkout area. We'll get into that in a little bit. Next section is designing the site, images. This one was interesting too because it was they talk about how much photos have changed when you're on a website like H&M, Old Navy, whatever it is, how much it's changed for trying on a product, right? Because you can always look at just a model like wearing it, posing, whatever, but how is that going to look on other people's body types, right? Everybody has different body types, and it's really cool because now they have like different size models, but also they include, most stores, online stores, include different shape, different size models in video form, not just photos, so you can actually see how the product moves, how it would fit on your curves, however it falls or sits. And then even then, like with Amazon, is the first one that comes to mind. They have the virtual try on option, right? Like you can wear sunglasses and see how that looks, or you know, if you're like trying to buy a piece of furniture, you can see how it would look in your living room. That's also very interesting, but it's crazy how much it's changed just in this short time. So they go over that and why that's important, you know, because you want to have multiple things to choose from in order to kind of seal the sale, as it were, because the more in depth you can go with your product visually, you're more likely to get a sale. If you just have one image of me wearing this dress like this, that's kind of like whatever. What does it look from the side? How does it move? Then then they go into designing the site, copy, like writing content, writing tips, more on SEO and copywriting. Building and rebuilding the site is the next section. Should you do a template site or custom development? That's kind of what I was trying to talk about earlier on. Should you just follow a basic template, or should you hire someone to do custom development to really nail your vision on how you're trying to have your product seen? Module 3 is customer experience. And in this section, I should have gone through these actually already. The key learning areas for this is like brand storytelling, customer segmentation, personalization, print on demand, customer service, live shopping, customer experience. So it's all the people, the people, the people. We have connecting with your customers and telling your brand story, new frontiers and in e-commerce, live shopping, right? Which is almost kind of like what I was talking about with TikTok or Instagram. Mostly TikTok is where I see it like pushed the most. When someone's going live and they're like, shop this product, right? That's a whole new way to shop and reach customers now. Segmenting your customers, like how to research your customers, connecting with your segments, managing those relationships with like how to do follow-up emails if a customer leaves an item in their checkout and they never leave. You can set up a follow-up email in a little bit like, oh, did you forget this? Or you can try to persuade them to actually buy the item with like a 20% discount, little things like that, and really wanting to hear back from them, like feedback, reviews, is there anything we can improve on? Because people don't always fill those out. I feel like a lot of people don't, but it is important to have that option because that's the only way that not the only way, that's one of the main ways that you can continue to grow and change your brand and make sure that you're making everybody as happy as possible, as if you're actually getting live feedback from your current customers saying like, oh, hey, checkout was weird, or just shipping, I don't know, you know, whatever feedback they want to give. Then they had a section on print on demand, kind of like drop shipping, right? Like I feel like that's a thing I see pushed a lot on social media with, what is it, like Printify or Etsy. Next section is personalization. So you can talk about personal experiences, customer service, how to help them, exchanges and returns. You know, everybody's going to run their own businesses a little bit differently. You can offer them like the buy online, pick up in store. That's huge. especially nowadays, coming from a mom who does like Target pickup all the time, digital try on. You got the chat bots, which is really nice. Like obviously when you go onto a website, there's a thing that pops up and it'll be like, can I help you at all with that? Abandoned carts, how to recover abandoned carts, like I just said. And then discounts, promotions, and loyalty programs is huge. A lot of the times if there's stores that are like, oh, they get special deals because they're part of the loyalty program. The fourth module would be brand identity and marketing. And in this module, it goes over online marketing strategies, cross-channel performance, SEO once again, paid searches, inbound links, influencer marketing, packaging design. I will say that influencer marketing was interesting because one thing that they were like expanding on was the fact that nowadays you're not necessarily looking for big influencers to promote products. You can, but I know I keep talking about TikTok so much. I swear I'm not like being paid for this. I'm just like talking about it. But it's cool because on TikTok, there's a lot of people that are like just you and me that are able to sell products, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be a big name. Now everybody's kind of like an influencer, as it were. Not necessarily a huge name, but just the fact that they all kind of have similar power or like authority or influence people to get these things. Like I've even done that before in the past with TikTok, which like as a stay-at-home mom, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a huge niche. That's a huge target like group that I could potentially reach to. And even then, like I'll hear stuff word of mouth and I'll be like, oh, this mom said to try this and it was a game changer. And then I might discover something new and I post a video about it being like, oh, POV, you just learned that blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I'm getting comments, blah, blah, blah. And then if I'm talking about a particular product, I could link that product and then sell it. You see what I mean? But the influencer marketing thing was also really interesting. Going back one, the inbound links is interesting too, because when you're on a website, I feel like, you know, you're looking at one item and then it's like, oh, customers also buy this item frequently with this, or, you know, that kind of thing. And then inbound link, there you go. Packaging design is huge now. I feel like the place that really like goes nuts with that is probably Etsy. I feel like a lot of people get creative with packaging there because you don't want just like a brown box and like tissue paper. If people are taking the time to buy something actually very nice and personalized and special to them, they want like a whole experience. So when businesses are able to go all out like that and include like 20% off your next order, here's a free little candle or little soap, or, you know, just like little freebies like that, here's some stickers, that makes your customer feel even more special, and they're probably going to utilize that discount that you gave them and do another purchase with you. And then that is also free advertising, because then word of mouth being like, have you ever looked at this store? And so it's just like a positive domino effect, as it were. For all the different sections, there's marketing online, cross-channel brand marketing, creating content, organic search, and paid advertising, which that's huge. I used to dabble in that personally as well for blogging. I feel like I did so much paid advertising on Facebook and it just never really worked out for me. But organically, I do a lot better on TikTok than any other platform. So that's really interesting too. Social media and influencer marketing, collaborative marketing, UGC marketing, reviews and ratings marketing, etc. And I feel like a lot of these terms are very well known now, because I feel like this has become such general knowledge among everyone that everybody's kind of trying to dabble in this for the most part. And then the last module is back-end services and reporting. Key learning areas in this would be distribution, fulfillment, third-party logistics, shipping solutions, back-end reporting, data privacy, and analytics. The fulfillment process from transaction to stock, the fulfillment process from shipping to returns, the international state of affairs, testing and metrics, data and analytics, and then you have your capstone activity, which is like project compiling everything that you learned within this course in a single project, and then you get your certificate printout or mail to you if you want. I did enjoy this course. I feel like I have some relatability with each course that I take, because I've dabbled in a lot of stuff. I have fun with creativity and things. And so when I used to have my blog, or when I would try to print on demand or do drop shipping, I'm like, okay, not all of this is new to me. I have some familiarity with it, and so that was nice as well. But then again, it goes into so much detail of things that I never knew about, because I never really obviously pursued to have a legitimate online business. But I do think that this goes over common knowledge and then some. Like, there are so many things that they really dive into with drop shipping, and you can learn from all of these different entrepreneurs and CEOs that are all running their business too. It's really interesting. I like that they have such a diverse selection of speakers and are just talking about how, you know, when you're pushing products now, how this day and age is so advanced with technology. Like, I think there was one guy that was even talking about like, or no, I think it was not drop shipping, but you know how you could do like Google Lens, right? You could see some woman walking down the street with a really cute dress. You take a picture of it, you do a Google Lens, and then you Google Lens and being like, where can I get this dress? And it can say something like, you know, it'll have a link to a store. Where's the nearest Macy's where I can find this? And then boom, it's just absolutely insane how much technology is like pushing us forward and doing things like this. I think that's a really cool observation that was mentioned. And that was the e-commerce course. So I really liked doing this video. It's fun to get back into YouTube again and do videos. That was it. I will include the links below, as always, to all of the Yellowbrick courses, including this e-commerce one. That is it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one, hopefully very soon. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.